Are you a family caregiver? Are you caregiving for someone who can no longer take care of themselves? Are you overwhelmed? This is Caregiver Solutions Info with Marcia Teele. Marcia will be hosting an hour of true stories and information, tips and updates of the latest research and necessary information in the caregiving field, focusing on you, the family caregiver. An Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert, Marcia has 15 years of hands-on experience at Arden Courts, a leader in assisted living dementia communities here in the U.S. Marcia covers everything you need to know as a family caregiver, especially if you care for a loved one with Alzheimer's disease or other related dementia or chronic illness. If you have a friend or relative that is also a family caregiver, call them now. They won't want to miss a minute. And let them know they can watch on caregiversolutions.info. And they can listen on WNN 1470 AM in South Florida or nationally on the iHeartRadio app. Now, sit back, relax, and learn from our host, Marcia Teele, as she brings information to you that may just be the caregiving solution you need.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Caregiver Solutions Info. If you're watching on your computer, it's caregiversolutions.info. Or if you're listening on the local radio, I'm glad you tuned in today for another show for caregivers, about caregivers. This show was actually perfect for you, the family caregiver, to learn things about your caregiving that would help you along the caregiving journey. As you've probably found out, and people in the healthcare industry know, caregiving is not easy. It's a very difficult job. And anything that you could do to learn to help your caregiving task be a little bit better, easier, make life a little bit better for both you and the person you're caring for, then what could be better than that? And that's what this is for, to give you another resource. Sometimes people can't get to support groups. They don't like support groups. Sometimes they can't drive and get to seminars. They can't leave their loved one, or whatever the reason is. This is a venue where you can tune in the privacy of your own home or in your car on your own computer device and learn from experts. So that's what we do. We provide the information, we ask the questions, and you get the answers. So thank you for joining again today. We are live from Boca Raton, Florida, and we want to hear from you. If you have a question, a comment, a suggestion, something that you would like to hear about on the program, you can just shoot me an email at delray at arden-courts.com. You see, sometimes we all have a little bit of short-term memory loss, sometimes just for a second. It's okay. That's not something you have to worry about. If you're got a slip of the tongue, can't remember something just escapes you, I don't want you to get nervous about that. We've talked about that on shows. It happens. The important thing is that you remember it eventually and life goes on. So you don't want to stress out about that. We talk about that on the program, and we'll talk about that again because we can't hear that enough. Sometimes we worry, am I losing it? Am I getting dementia? What's causing this? Am I going crazy? And usually it's stress, or you're just distracted for some reason, and it does happen. So don't worry about that. But do email me, and it's delray at arden-courts.com. I'd love to hear from you. Anything that you'd like to say, we'll try to get it on for you on the next week's show. So last week, we had a daughter and her father on the program. Her father was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, and we talked to the daughter and the father together about what it was like having the memory loss and changes that had occurred in their life and how they were coping with it. We talked about different feelings, different situations. And the thing that I want to point out, if you did get a chance to check that show out and watch it, you may have seen some things that didn't quite click, or maybe you read between the lines a little bit and realized that something was off. And if that was the feeling that you got, you were perfectly right, because Bill, who was on our show, has short-term memory loss, and he doesn't remember everything. And his daughter was prompting him, giving him some gentle reminders, and everything that you heard wasn't exactly true. Sometimes he mixed up dates, sometimes he mixed up people, sometimes he even created a scenario that never really happened, but in his own mind it did. And so these are things that we see in people that are still somewhat high functioning. We call them high functioning because it's a relative term, but they're able to still communicate and be in the moment and talk and walk and enjoy things in life, yet they still have that short-term memory loss. And sometimes they mix things up. They can't remember. They make things up. They have a little bit of delusion, but these are some of the characteristics that you will see in someone. And so it was my honor, really, to have a person here with us in the studio who is diagnosed with short-term memory loss, and he was willing to come and share, and he's a wonderful guy. And he asked me when it was all over, he goes, you know what, maybe I helped somebody. And I said, yeah, Bill, maybe you did, and I'm sure you did. So I just wanted you to know that when you watch these shows, when we do talk about short-term memory loss, it's not all or nothing. It's not black and white. It's going to come in and fade out, and you're going to see different expressions and different behaviors and different symptoms in different people. As they say, like with snowflakes, every snowflake is different. Well, if you've seen one person diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, you've seen one person, because they all exhibit their own little idiosyncrasies and they have special characteristics, and no two are alike. So when you're considering that and you're looking at your loved one and how they're behaving, and you may even try to compare them to somebody else who was also diagnosed, just remember that, you don't want to do that, because what someone else's journey is going to be different than your loved one's journey. It depends on their age. It depends on their health. It depends on the actual diagnosis, whether it's a diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease, whether it's a diagnosis of maybe vascular dementia. There's all kinds of different types of dementia, and so they're not all alike. So just be aware of that. But that being said, I just wanted to, again, thank you for tuning in. And today we have a great show. We're going to be talking about health and how we can stay healthier so that we can be a better caregiver. I know that a lot of you are stressed out. A lot of you are just overwhelmed. And we have a health and fitness coach who's going to be talking to us today about how we can be better. Just the other day, a friend of mine, she said, Marcia, she says, I really want to get in shape. And so I'm going to go to the gym, but I'm going to hire a trainer. I want a fitness trainer who's going to tell me what I need to do, when I need to do it, how I need to do it. She said, because if I do it myself, I won't motivate myself. I won't do it. I know myself. And so I need someone to push me. I need a trainer. So just as someone might need a fitness trainer in the gym to pump up your muscles and lose weight, we're going to be talking about a fitness and health coach who acts a little bit like that in a different way, but it's going to be for our mind and our body. So I'm real excited today to present to you a wellness coach. Her name is Elisa Ehrman, and she is the owner of Universal Coaching Services. Hi, Elisa.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you for joining us today on Caregiver Solutions Info.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Well, I'm excited to talk about everything that you have to offer because, we all want to be better. We all want to feel better. We all want to know what we need to do. And I don't think we can actually be reminded enough because we get so busy and we get distracted.
Absolutely.
And this is your business. But before we get started talking about it, I want to let people know your credentials, but after your name, you have RN. Obviously, that's registered nurse.
Correct.
The rest of it sounds like I could make alphabet soup out of it. We have BSN, CD, is that E? Okay.
It's E, yeah.
CWC and CHC. Could you please explain what all those letters are about?
Sure. So the RN, you're correct. I'm a registered nurse, and I have a Bachelor's of Science in Nursing from University of Michigan. And then the CDE is I'm a certified diabetes educator, certified wellness coach, and certified health coach.
Okay. What's the difference between a certified wellness coach and a certified healthcare coach? Why the differentiation there on the letters, and what makes it different?
They're actually just different certificates that you can get. So,
Okay, so you learn different things within the scope of that. Okay. So you have a lot of training, a lot
I
of
do.
education.
Yeah.
And what has led you up to this point? Because I know that this universal coaching service is fairly new, and you're getting off the ground running. But what in your life has led you to want to be a health and wellness coach?
that's a great question.
I'm sure you have a great answer.
I do. So actually, after nursing school, I actually worked in a neuro step-down unit. So I worked with a lot of stroke patients, brain injury, Alzheimer's, all of that in a hospital.
Okay.
And honestly, one day I was standing there in front of my patient rooms, and I just said, wow, I want to help prevent people from getting here in the first place. And as we know, there's only certain things in life we can control, but I wanted to help people control those things that they can, which are the lifestyle, which is your lifestyle, the choices that you make. So I left working in the hospital, and I learned about becoming a wellness coach, and I did that. I actually started Universal Coaching Services years ago.
Okay.
I've had it for a while. And then you want me to keep going on what brought me here to South
Yeah, I'm
Florida?
really
Okay.
interested because, first of all, you saw the stroke victims, and,
Yes.
strokes
Yes.
can be prevented because of lifestyle changes many times. So that was your aha moment.
It was beyond aha.
Okay.
It was life altering. I mean, anyone that knows me will tell you how my life changed. I saw what happens, when people get in the hospital, and I just said, you know what? If there's anything that I can do to help prevent them from getting there, or if they do end up there, what can I do to help them when they get out, optimize their quality of life in any way possible? And then in nursing school, we didn't learn about nutrition that much. I mean, there was a class, but it wasn't as much detail as I've learned after. And a lot of these lifestyle changes, it's been my really post-college education that I've learned about it. And it's really given me an opportunity to help a lot of people in the way that I really dreamed of.
Well, I think it's interesting, the fact that you want to help people. You decided to go into nursing and
Yes.
and be a nurse, and I think nurses are very special. I really hold a soft spot in my heart for nurses, because nurses, they're the ones that are there that we count on to help us, and they're caring and compassionate. And I think that's a wonderful vocation for someone that has that type of personality, where they're giving and they're
Right.
empathetic in addition to being sympathetic. So from that, you just expounded on all of these other pathways to enlarge your capacity to provide services to people more than just what your nursing degree allowed.
Right.
I think that's wonderful. So from there, you started doing, I know that you had a stint with helping in the sports field a little bit, doing some type of sports wellness.
Well, my experience basically was I had my own coaching business in Michigan, and then Walt Disney World actually hired me. So I moved from Michigan to Orlando, and I supported with creating and really starting and running the Walt Disney World Wellness Department at their primary care doctor's office on site for Disney cast members and their families. So I did one-on-one coaching, and I did wellness groups all over Disney property. It was wonderful. It was really an opportunity. It was honestly very humbling, because I just felt like these cast members are here serving the world, and who's here to serve them? And I felt like I was here to serve them and to help them take care of themselves so they can take care of all these people from the world, from around the world coming in there.
And that's very interesting, because who would think, really, that Mickey Mouse and Goofy and Donald Duck and the characters that are playing them
Right.
would have any stress or need wellness? But obviously, it's important for everyone. And what a great opportunity, like you said, to
Yeah.
provide services so they could be well enough to make the world happy. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a real quick first commercial break, and when we get back, we're going to be talking to Elisa about all kinds of things well. So stay tuned.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live, it's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides. Do you need the advice of an elder law attorney but perhaps find it difficult or overwhelming getting to appointments? The solution is the Elder Law Department. They bring elder law to you by meeting with you in the comfort of your own surroundings to discuss your personal situation and family needs. In practice since 1994, Heidi Friedman is a member of the Elder Law section of the Florida Bar. She and her team help families with issues that include incapacity and estate planning, asset preservation, veterans benefits, and other legal issues that seniors may face. Call the Elder Law Department at 954-383-1143. 954-383-1143. They bring elder law to you. You are listening to your host, Marcia Teele, an Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert on CareGiverSolutions.info. If you have a question or wish to share a story, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and talk with Marcia. Now, back to Caregiver Solutions.
And we're back. My guest today is Elisa Ehrman. She's the owner of Universal Coaching Services. And we've been talking about what a life coach is, a wellness fitness coach. She actually does fitness and wellness. And I know during commercial break, you said you even had a little bit of a stint doing some sports wellness. What did you do?
So in Orlando, I actually had a show through my business on CBS Sports Radio, talking about wellness, and did some, interactions with some professional athletes. And it was just a great opportunity to reach, another population.
Yeah, and talking about what they can do to stay healthy.
Absolutely.
And like hydration when they're out there doing their workouts or playing on their team or whatever they do.
Yes.
And then, along with your the Disney operation. But what made you come to South Florida? Because who would want to leave Mickey Mouse in Disney World?
It was a challenging decision. No, it actually was. I loved working for Disney. It was a great opportunity. I loved Orlando. Absolutely still love it. But I really felt like I needed a change, and I wanted to come down here. I have a passion for helping seniors, and I just felt like this is a great place to reach a lot of seniors and, do what my passion is, what I mentioned before about helping people make lifestyle changes.
Okay, well, this is the place to do it,
Yes.
South Florida. Absolutely. Yes. You're in the right place for that. So on your card, you have a lot of information and a lot of the things that you promote and that you coach for. And I'm just going to run down them real quick, and then we'll get into some of these. But it's very impressive. Some of the services that you provide as a coach includes healthy weight, diabetes control, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, optimal health, stress management, and more. And then you have something called the Intuition Diet, reconnecting you to you. So that piques my curiosity, the Intuition Diet, because, they say we are what we eat. And tell me what this means, the Intuition Diet.
So the word diet, a lot of people think food, which
Right.
it can relate to food, but diet also means, another translation actually means a way of life. So what the Intuition Diet is it's actually a program that I've created, and it helps reconnect people to themselves. That's why it says reconnecting you to you.
Right.
So what does that mean? Well, in the area of food, it means taking the information that you get, let's say, from your doctor for specific, guidelines for food, but also listening to your body and how it's responding to those guidelines. There's many times that I've worked with people and they've taken the guidelines and had, side effects or, let's say, not wonderful experiences with specific diets that they were put on. And what's gone on is, people don't say anything. So it's really important to speak up and to go back to your doctor and to say, hey, you put me on this, but this is what I'm experiencing. Is this normal? Mm-hmm. So the intuition diet in terms of food relates to taking the information that's out there, but also listening to your body's response into that and working together with the science that's out there, but also your body's feedback.
So it doesn't mean my intuition tells me right now that I would love a great big piece of apple pie loaded with ice cream.
Right. So how I would respond so we can go here. Do you want to?
I mean, that's intuition. Is
Right.
like, that's what I feel like I'm craving.
Right.
Now, is that a bad thing because I want apple pie and ice cream, but
No.
because I'm supposed to be on a diet? But you're talking about your intuition, and I'm just throwing out there, like, what if my intuition says I need this?
Right.
Do I really need it, or is my gut telling me something different?
So, and that's a loaded question, but here's what I can tell you. When someone comes to me with a question like that, what I can say is, well, when did you eat last? If you haven't eaten in 8 hours and you're craving apple pie, it's a lot of sugar. So it would make sense that your body's asking for that right now. That could be, I'm not saying that's the optimal decision to make. If you said you were on a diet. So if you're on a diet, I wouldn't, probably that may not be your optimal choice. But in terms of, listening to your body, yes, your body, if it needs sugar, it's going to let you know. So, in a situation where there's nothing, it's better than nothing. But sometimes those cravings will let you know, hey, you know what I need to eat? I may be craving apple pie, but actually that's just a sign for my body to tell me.
Maybe I need energy
right, I need
from
to
the
eat
sugar.
Something.
Because
Right.
the sugar will give you some quick energy.
Right. So the first thing is you ask yourself, when did I eat last?
Okay.
What did I eat? What was missing? Was it balance? Again, this is it's a lot that goes into it, but I'm just giving you the highlights.
Right.
And then, of course, if you ate recently, you want to look at some emotional components. Is there an emotional? Are you stressed out? And then you're craving sweets. A lot of people do have that experience. So there can be physiological cravings. There can be emotional cravings. But, when it comes to the intuition diet, what happens is you can learn it in one area, but it affects all areas of your life in terms of your relationships, being able to say no, which is important for caregivers. Especially because let's say they have a commitment to take a night off and then something happens and, they tried to get, let's say they have a commitment to go out with their family and friends and something happens that tries to sway them off their path. Mm-hmm. That's when they need to go within and to ask themselves, what's really best right now? What's best for me to do? Is it best for me to continue going out with my family and friends, or do I need to take this other path? So it's important to go within, not respond from guilt, but respond from your inner truth and say, what's best for me to be eating right now? What's best for me to be doing right now? And that's the language of the intuition diet.
Got it. Makes sense.
Okay.
It really does. And I know some people, have different cravings. So in the example of the apple pie and ice cream, that's the sugar.
Yeah.
Other people crave salty things.
Right.
And maybe that's telling your body that you need salt, so that maybe you're dehydrated and the salt will make you drink water because you need to hydrate. I mean, is that sort of the thing you're looking at, is listen to your body, why you're craving certain things, and then kind of figuring it out why and what's going on.
Yeah, and I truly believe the body's always speaking to us, so you just want to listen to it. Sometimes if people are craving ice cream at night, which is very common, it could be because they've had a stressful day and their body's actually used a lot of magnesium. The body uses magnesium when it gets stressed. So ice cream, people affiliate, ice cream with magnesium in there, and the milk and the dairy, so that's what they do. So it's what's best for me.
Okay.
I may be craving this, what's best for me,
Yeah. And then you have to look at your choices. So maybe the ice cream isn't the best choice, but maybe a nice glass of low-fat milk would do the same thing. And that's why they always say, have a glass of milk before you go to bed. It helps you sleep better, right?
There's definitely different options when it comes to that are healthier. And that's where you ask, what are my intentions? So there's a lot that goes into the intuition diet, but it's a very, I've used it for a long time with lots of people, and it really does work.
Okay. So when you're working with someone and you're coaching them for wellness and they have a specific issue,
Mm-hmm.
do you use the intuition diet interrelated to all of these different issues maybe they're having? Because it sounds like it really they cross over because one affects the other.
Yeah, I mean, the truth is with the intuition diet, I believe I kind of came in or created a name for something that a lot of people do anyways, and also brought more consciousness to that. So, for example, if somebody says, let's say they're on a specific diabetic diet,
right,
and they have an intention today, they're going to eat a specific meal plan, and then all of a sudden they start craving, the apple pie, which let's pretend isn't on their meal plan. So that's when they stop and say, okay, what's best for me right now? I need to stop and breathe. I know I'm craving this. What do I really need right now? And, so.
But that's not easy to do. That's not easy to stop yourself and think about it, because most people just grab and go and grab and eat. And so is what you do helping people to learn how to stop and learn how to analyze that? That's part of the coaching that you give them?
It's very important, because with anything, you want to be conscious, right? It's kind of like being conscious in an unconscious world. You're right. People are running on, caffeine, adrenaline, and go. It's important to stop and just really get connected with yourself and say, what's best for me right now?
Right.
Do I need a nap? Do I need a night out? Do I need sleep? Do I need to have some fun? Do I need to eat? I mean, do I need water? What do I need?
And I think that's important when you're looking at all those questions, because, caregivers are told all the time, take care of yourself.
Right.
Well, what does that mean? Take care of yourself. There's no formula of how to take care of yourself.
Right.
And you just gave them, a whole handful of different options of how to take care of yourself, going through and asking, do I need this? Do I need to do that? What do I need to do to make me feel better, to satisfy my cravings, to make me be a better caregiver by taking care of myself? And these are more specific ways to do that.
Yes.
Yeah, I see that.
And I would say, and I love what you said, because it's very true. It's like, take care of yourself. And I know as a nurse, I mean, I'm a very giving person. I've learned the intuition diet firsthand, let me tell you. So I've experienced it. I've worked with other people, as I said, as well. But the first step, just so everyone has a first step, I'd like to give them something to walk out of here with.
Yeah,
or
that'd be great.
Away from the program with, is to just stop and ask yourself, what do I need right now? Just take a moment every day, even if it's once a day, and just say, what do I need right now?
Do they have to think about how they're feeling when they do that? Like, how am I feeling? Does a feeling give you the answer to what you need? Do you talk about the feelings of when you're talking about what do I need? Like, am I feeling depressed? Am I feeling sad? Am I feeling tired? Right? You have to look at how you're feeling and then go from there.
Well, here's what I can tell you is that if you ask yourself and you say, what do I need right now? And you don't hear anything except all you experience are feelings, then yes, you want to allow yourself to feel them and say, okay, I'm feeling really sad right now. It's been a rough day. And then ask yourself, acknowledge the sadness and say, okay, what do I need? What do I need? Last night I needed just connection with somebody. So I made a phone call. I just felt like I needed connection. I said, what do I need right now? I need connection. So I created that. As human beings, we just need that at times, of course. So, before I came to the show, I said, what do I need? Oh, I need some water to drink or something to drink on the show. So I made sure. And it's just staying connected to yourself, because the point is as you're taking care of other people, you've got to keep yourself strong. But how can you do that if you're not listening?
There you go. Right.
So this is the intuition diet is a way of listening to yourself.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It really does, because, caregivers are always distracted, listening to other people. Other people are telling them what to do.
Yes.
They don't stop. They go all the time.
Yes.
They got a lot on their plate. They don't even take time to know what they want to do.
Right.
And I think this is very smart for you to create a name for something that they can say, listen to my gut, listen to my intuition, listen to what my body's telling me, what do I need? So let's talk then, using the intuition diet, let's talk about the healthy weight. I know a lot of people are stress eaters. I think that sometimes when people get really stressed out, they either eat or they don't eat. But people that I know eat, they like to crunch, or they just that comfort food, and they want that comfort food to make them feel better if they're upset about something. And certainly caregivers have a lot to be upset about. So
Absolutely.
How can a caregiver maintain what they need to do when they're stressed out when it comes to healthy weight and healthy eating? What are some of the things that you would coach if I said, I am a caregiver and I am so stressed out and I just eat whatever I can get my hands on. I need, the crunch to just grind my teeth and,
Right.
And then I see the cookies and I go for them because it's comfort food. And,
Right.
and then I don't have time to cook a decent meal. And I'm a mess. And Coach Elise, I need something because I'm a mess. What would you say to somebody like that? Where would you even start?
Yeah, and I've actually seen a lot of people like that. So it's very common. It really is. It's really common today. I mean, and it could be, caregivers, it could be people working really hard at their job, family life. I mean, in any way, people are giving a lot.
Yes.
And I think that today we're called to give a lot. So it's also just as important to make time for ourselves. So for that situation, the first thing I would say would be to ask this person or ask you, what is your intention? I work with people to create what's called a wellness vision on our first visit. And a wellness vision is really, what would you like to create? So when you say weight loss, we would talk about what does that look like for you? But also I would definitely incorporate, in your wellness vision, I would incorporate some positive intentions about managing stress in healthy and safe ways. Taking time for making time for fun, things like that. So we'd actually, I'll make it real easy for you. If you think of a map, on a map you have a destination,
Right.
and then you have roads that get to that destination.
Right.
So your wellness vision or desire for weight loss is your destination, and then the goals that we create every week are going to be, those are your roads to get to your destination.
And some roads aren't straight, they're curvy.
Absolutely.
So,
And sometimes you U-turn,
Yeah.
you go back around. Yeah.
I missed that one.
Right?
Do it.
Absolutely. But that's where you got to have compassion for yourself, understanding for yourself, forgiveness for yourself. And no, look, no one's perfect. We're human. We're all doing the best we can here. And, I just think for someone like that, honestly, they do need some source of support. Because if you're feeling that stressed out, that everything's just overwhelming, and I've seen it many, many times.
Yes.
You deserve the support wherever that comes from for you, to get, whether it's a loved one, a friend, a wellness coach, a therapist. I mean, whatever it is, just somebody to help kind of keep you,
On that right path.
on the right path,
Yeah.
and on the path of reaching what your intentions are.
Right, because I like your analogy. It's great because I'm picturing this roadmap and I'm picturing big old mountains and
Yes.
low valleys
Yes.
and going across the bridges and
Yes.
how am I going to get there? And
Yes.
and sometimes we beat ourselves up because we miss the mark, along the pathway on the map to the goal, which is maybe our ideal weight as the example. I might pull off at the side road to a hot dog stand,
Right.
It's right there. And I
Right.
might not have the willpower. And that's what I need right now. So I think we have to give ourselves permission to forgive ourselves.
Absolutely.
Say it's okay. I'll do better next time. And don't beat ourselves up. Because I know a lot of people beat themselves up terribly. And,
Yes.
we get beat up enough in the world.
Yes.
I don't like to see people beat themselves up, and it's really
Yes.
tough. So that's a really good analogy. Before we go to our second commercial break, let's talk about for instance, high blood pressure and high cholesterol. Those are two things that can be controlled, right, by being more fit and healthy. And some of these things actually can be reduced by your lifestyle.
Correct.
So you incorporate not just what you eat, but do you also incorporate the fitness of the body into your programming as part of your coaching?
Yes. I would say that when someone works with me, I look at what are they eating? I look at how are they moving their body? What does their sleep look like? And then, really life balance in general. So different areas of their life, their social interactions, things like that. Make sure that they are enjoying their life and having that passion that they have inside, that's being expressed, but also self-care. I mean, I call myself, I've been called a master of self-care because I really, really believe in that. And I've been saying it with the intuition diet, and it's really important to identify different ways of being able to care for yourself. So if somebody comes to me and they have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, there's different, I mean, every situation is different. Again, we create their wellness vision, and then I identify what's going on with them, what's their situation. I'll give them tools to support them with reaching the goals that they've created with their doctor.
Yeah.
So I help them with the lifestyle changes.
That's wonderful. That's great. So we're going to talk more about this as soon as we come back for our second commercial break. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Do you need the advice of an elder law attorney, but perhaps find it difficult or overwhelming getting to appointments? The solution is the Elder Law Department. They bring elder law to you by meeting with you in the comfort of your own surroundings to discuss your personal situation and family needs. In practice since 1994, Heidi Friedman is a member of the Elder Law section of the Florida Bar. She and her team help families with issues that include incapacity and estate planning, asset preservation, veterans benefits, and other legal issues that seniors may face. Call the Elder Law Department at 954-383-1143. 954-383-1143. They bring elder law to you. Make First Choice your first choice for home health care. First Choice is state certified for Medicare covered services such as medical treatment and rehabilitation. Qualified healthcare professionals come to your home and work closely with your doctor to build a care plan designed to get you back on your feet as soon as possible. Founded and operated by registered nurses, First Choice Home Health is dedicated to providing exceptional home health care. Their highly skilled medical professionals have the knowledge and ability to provide patients quality care. Call First Choice Home Health at 561-296-2770. That's 561-296-2770. And tell them you want them as your first choice. You are listening to your host, Marcia Teele, an Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert on CareGiverSolutions.info. If you have a question or wish to share a story, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and talk with Marcia. Now, back to Caregiver Solutions.
I'd like to thank our local sponsor and also our national sponsor, Arden Courts Memory Care Community. Arden Courts has many communities, 50 of them located all across the United States. And hopefully there's one near you that you can check out and go and visit and find out all the wonderful things that Arden Courts can do for your loved one that has memory loss, and also all the wonderful things they can do for you as a caregiver. They have many caregiving support groups that are available. They have seminars that are educational for caregivers to learn about different topics related to dementia, Alzheimer's, memory loss. And one of the things that Arden Courts would love to do also for you as a family caregiver is to provide this book. It's called The 36-Hour Day. It's a family guide to caregiving, and they want to give it to you absolutely free just for watching this show. And if you'd like to have this book, all you have to do is call the toll-free number of Arden Courts, and that number is 888-478-2410. Again, 888-478-2410. Call them up. Tell them that you saw the offer on the Caregiver Solutions Info Show and that you'd like one of the books mailed directly to your house. It is full of tips and information and education and all kinds of wonderful things that you as a family caregiver would probably enjoy knowing about, and it will be helpful to you to not only learn about what you're going through and then pass it on to someone else who could also benefit. So give them a call and get this book for you. So we're back here with Elisa, and she is with the Universal Coaching Services, and she is a wellness coach, and we're talking about feeling well, being well, our mind, our body, and then that's going to lead into our spirit. Because if we feel good, I think if we feel good, we look good. We're it's good. I think everything's connected, and that's what you're talking about. And I'm curious about the universal name. And does that have to do with the fact that everything is connected through we're not separate? I think our body, our mind, our spirit, everything is connected. And is that how you came up with the name, sort of to relate to that?
I did, actually. Yeah, Universal, absolutely. We're all connected. And actually, if you look at my logo on the card, it's easier to see on this brochure here. I'll show you. On the top of the laid on top of the globe
Yeah.
is the flower of life,
Yes.
which is actually a symbol which represents oneness and unity and connectedness. So when I coach people, it's about being connected to them and all of us, on this earth connected to each other, but also connecting to ourselves. I found that the more connected we are to ourselves, the more we can connect with others, with nature, with animals, with the planet, all those things. So yes, universal is that oneness.
Yes,
absolutely.
it is. And I think it's great because we're talking about caregiving. We're talking about caregivers, and they give so much of themselves, and they give and they give and they give. But who's giving back to them? And we need to learn how to give back to ourselves. Basically,
Yes.
what you're teaching. And I think that's good because we have to take care of ourselves so we can be better caregivers for the people that we love.
Right.
And I know that you have a lot of wonderful examples of people that you've helped. And what have been some of the success stories that you could share with us? Some of the things you've been able to help people through.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, one of the top things is helping people improve their quality of life. Hearing that they have more energy, hearing that they went back to their doctor and their blood sugar levels are healthy, in a healthier range, that their blood pressure numbers are in a healthier range, they're feeling better. That's just, it's an amazing feeling. It's what I'm here to do. Many times I've heard, patients or clients will come back and they'll talk to me about how their doctor now has to take them off the medication they were on because for cholesterol or something like that.
Because they don't need it anymore.
Right. So their doctor says, hey, you're doing great with your lifestyle changes. Guess what? You don't need this anymore. Or decreased dose with pain medication or something like that, diabetes, high
So
cholesterol.
that leads me into
Yeah.
the next question because
Okay.
you mentioned their doctor.
Yes.
Now, why would someone go to a fitness health coach to learn these things rather than just to their primary care? Why is there a need for both, or is there a need for both, or why can't just their primary care take care of all the things that you are teaching them? Can you help us with that? Because it seems like,
Sure.
Is it one or the other? Is it both? And how do doctors feel when someone else is coaching their patient and all of a sudden, the doctor sees different results? What's your experience with that?
The doctors love it because it actually creates better outcomes for them. So their clients are coming back and they're feeling better. And they obviously went into medicine to help people feel better. So I actually work hand in hand with doctors. Many times I'll say I'm kind of like their right arm. So what that means is the patient or a client of mine will go to the doctor and the doctor will say, okay, hey, these are the things that you're going to need to work on. Maybe it's 3 months. You'll come back and get your labs redrawn or whatever the situation is. They'll work with their doctor to come up with a plan. Then they come to me to help implement that plan with the lifestyle changes. Now, is it possible that they can see their doctor and the doctor will say, hey, I need you to get your cholesterol numbers down. I'll see you back in 3 months or 6 months.
And here's
they
a pill
it
to
on
do it, right? They give them a pill.
Right. And that's another, right. So there's a couple different scenarios, but the first thing would be that, is it possible that they can do it on their own? Absolutely. I mean, some people don't need the support, but some people don't know what to do. The media has a lot of information out there. There's a lot of misleading information out there. There's a lot of information that might work well for your friend or your loved one, but maybe not work well for you.
Right.
So it's important to work with somebody that can identify, is this really the right plan for you? So I work alongside the doctors and I help them with their patients. I mean, that's really the bottom line.
So they're supportive of a fitness coach.
Well, I'm a health and wellness
Health
coach,
and
not
wellness,
fitness
not
coach. But yeah,
fitness.
that's okay. They are. I mean, I'm a registered nurse, certified diabetes educator. They're very supportive. I mean, most doctors aren't going to be doing. I honestly haven't met any doctors that do the wellness coaching. I'm not saying there aren't, but I mean, I've worked with thousands of clients and I have not met one doctor that does wellness coaching. It's actually a form of positive psychology. So it's like saying, yeah, you can go to the doctor for depression, your primary care doctor, but working with a therapist can help you with tools to cope with that.
All right. So you supplement what the doctor
Absolutely.
is doing.
Supplement.
Yes.
That's a great word for it. Yes.
Yeah, you
yes.
supplement. You supplement so they don't have to take supplements.
Hopefully not. Now, sometimes if the doctor does need to put them on a pill, then the doctor puts them on a pill. But a lot of the times the doctors will put them on the pills and still say, hey, I'm going to put you on this, but I want you to do this. And
Right.
that's where I come in, again, helping them make those lifestyle changes.
Right. So with the lifestyle changes,
Yes.
it's not just about diet. I mean, you mentioned about exercise
Yes.
too. And I said the word fitness, and
Yes.
you corrected me and said you're not fitness, you're wellness and your health.
Right.
But I think those terms people interchange them quite a bit. Yeah.
I'm just, for terms of credentials, I'm not a certified fitness coach. I'm a certified wellness coach and certified health coach. But yes, of course I work with fitness. It's a huge part of wellness, for
Right.
sure. You're
Okay.
totally right.
All right.
Absolutely.
So it's just a matter of the credentials that
It is.
you're
I need to be clear on that when for legal terms and all that.
Gotcha. But you do make people feel better, and you make them feel
Absolutely.
fit and all of that, with everything that you're doing for them. I think that's amazing. And people have been shown to get off medications
Yes.
by lifestyle changes.
Absolutely.
And like anything else, if you're not used to it, if you don't know where to start, you do need someone to coach you,
Yeah.
be your cheerleader.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, learning to be your own cheerleader is important as well. And the biggest thing I would say, a lot of times people will say, well, I know what to do. It's diet and exercise. It's diet and exercise. But what I want to tell you is that is a part of it, but there are other components as well that go into it.
Like what?
Well, again, the self-care component, the learning how to say no. If it was just diet and exercise and it was so easy, then more people probably, there maybe not be a need for wellness coaches or for weight loss clinics or things like that. So there's emotional, mental, different components, lifestyle components that go into that. It's saying, hey, this is how I want to be eating. How can I get there?
Mm-hmm.
These are my barriers. So people will sit down with me and say, these are my barriers. And I'll work with them on the things that I work with them on. And if I need to pull in a therapist or go back to their doctor, whatever, we all work together to help people reach their goals. It's just important. I just want people to understand that I understand that it is a complementary approach. And it's important that people know that.
Yeah. So you talked about being your own cheerleader.
Yes.
How does somebody be their own cheerleader when they're just in this maze of a mess where they feel that it's hopeless and they're overwhelmed and they're stressed out? How do you get to be a cheerleader? Has to be happy, rah rah, pom poms, jumping up and down. How do you create that? I mean, what and when would somebody use that? Do you help them create this cheerleader inside them?
Anyone can create that. And I want to just touch on, before I answer this question, because it will help me answer this question. Earlier you said about addressing the mind, the body, and the spirit. So the spirit is, I encourage everyone to ask themselves, what's going to feed my spirit? What's important to me? And make sure that they're doing that, because those types of things will help bring that positive energy and that positivity to their life. So if they are having a real stressed out time and they love going to the ocean and they haven't been to the ocean in weeks, and the ocean feeds their spirit, that's the kind of thing I would say, hey, make it a point. That would be one of their goals on their roadmap,
To
go to the ocean. Absolutely, go to the ocean. So,
and that makes sense, because if you go to the place that feeds your soul, whether
Right.
it's an ocean, a lake, a mountain, a garden,
right, your kids, your family, it could be anything.
Right, whatever feeds you, whatever
Right.
makes you happy or whatever makes you peaceful.
Yes.
And when you do that, you just fill your bucket, I think. You fill your
Absolutely.
bucket back up, because as caregivers, we empty our bucket all the time and we're giving to others all the
Yes.
time. We need to fill our bucket back up with the positive things that we need in order to give out again. And without that positive feeding of our soul, our bucket will just have, either it'll be empty or it'll have holes in it, and
Right.
it'll keep draining out, and we
Right.
can never fill it up fast enough because it just goes.
Right.
And I love the analogies, because you can just picture this. And
Absolutely.
I recently last weekend I went out of town. I had to go to North Carolina to feed my bucket, to feed my soul, to spend some time with my 5-year-old grandson.
Yes.
And that's what I needed. I
Yes.
needed that. And while I was there, I collected lots of hugs and kisses, because I don't get to see him that often. And when I came back to work, then I had my spirit was better, because he had filled that bucket for me. And then
Yes.
I was able to now give and do more and help others.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So to answer your question about the cheerleader,
Yes.
I would just say for everyone listening and watching that you want to infuse more positivity into your life in any way possible. That is true positivity. So be aware of your interactions with your friends, with your family, with the people that you're surrounding yourself with, and what you're doing in your spare time, or if you don't have much spare time, what you're doing, when you're driving, or, where your mind is. So you want to do the best that you can to make that time for yourself, feed your spirit like we talked about, but also be your own cheerleader. And how you do that is you literally, by intention, create it in your mind, a little cheerleader. And it can look like you. It can look like anything you want it to look like.
Like a mini me.
Like a mini you. And it can just say, like, for example, you could have, I've worked with people that have done this, and the mini cheerleader will say, hey, you can do this. Keep going. Believe in yourself. Things like that.
Don't give up.
Don't give up. Hang in there. And maybe that cheerleader sometimes will actually remind you to do things like, hey, you haven't eaten in a while. It's time to go eat, or go to the beach like we talked about, or visit your grandkids, whatever it is. But you want to have a place in your mind that is positive. And I believe that we all can have that, and that we all do. So just if you feel like you don't have it, create it. Literally, you can just create it by intention, just creating it. And let your mind be fed from that others part in your mind, really daily. Even if it's 5 minutes a day that you're saying, okay, let me connect with that cheerleader. What does she or he have to say? Well, he's saying, hang in there, don't give up. You need to make more time for yourself. You need to make more time for yourself isn't really a cheerleader comment, but it's kind of a, your own coach comment type of thing. You can create your own coach too.
I hear Elisa in my mind. Create time for yourself.
I got to tell you, I've heard that. So people say, what's your deal? I meet you or you're on my shoulder at the buffet line. I'm like, oh God. I'm going to have to charge you for that extra time.
We're going to go to our last commercial break, and we'll be right back with more from Elisa, the wellness coach. We'll be right back.
Do you need the advice of an elder law attorney, but perhaps find it difficult or overwhelming getting to appointments? The solution is the Elder Law Department. They bring elder law to you by meeting with you in the comfort of your own surroundings to discuss your personal situation and family needs. In practice since 1994, Heidi Friedman is a member of the Elder Law section of the Florida Bar. She and her team help families with issues that include incapacity and estate planning, asset preservation, veterans benefits, and other legal issues that seniors may face. Call the Elder Law Department at 954-383-1143. 954-383-1143. They bring elder law to you. Arden Courts is not just a place to live. It's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides. You are listening to your host, Marcia Teele, an Alzheimer's disease and dementia care expert on CareGiverSolutions.info. If you have a question or wish to share a story, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and talk with Marcia. Now, back to Caregiver Solutions.
And we're back and talking to Elisa Ehrman. Elisa is a certified wellness coach, a certified health coach, and we're talking about caregiving and how we can be better by incorporating a lot of wonderful things that a health and wellness coach can help us with in addition to our doctors. And so thank you so much for coming. This has been great information. I love talking about this. So in the last couple minutes that we have for the show, why don't you sum it up, tie it together, kind of give someone a summary of all the things that we're talking about that they could do for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say, like we first talked about, eating healthy foods. The healthier foods that you eat, the more that you can, take care of your physical body, that it will support you with the stress that you're dealing with.
Right.
Okay. It can support you with that.
Right.
Obviously, we talked about having healthy relationships and healthy friends and making time for yourself, being true to yourself. All of those things really are important. And I think, having a healthy environment and the positive mindset, I would say, again, like I said before the commercial break, just making sure that you're infusing positivity into your life every day. And that can look like, again, just finishing off with the cheerleader comment, reading a book of positive affirmations. Louise Hay has a great book. It's real well known. You Can Heal Your Life. That's a great book of positive affirmations. There's all types of...
Just reading a little bit every day, right?
Yeah, and you can even pick one or two affirmations that really call to you and, have your cheerleader say that. When you're connecting with your cheerleader, let's say you're stressed out throughout the day, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, wait, the cheerleader. Okay, what's the affirmation? Whatever the affirmation is.
One of the things that I do when I come across something that I like, a sentence, little tiny paragraph, something that speaks to me, that speaks to that intuition in me, I cut it out and I put it in my medicine cabinet in the bathroom. So when I open that medicine cabinet every morning to brush my teeth, I read those.
It's so important. I can't even tell you. Surround yourself with positivity. Build yourself up from the inside out. It really will support what you're doing. And I'm sorry. I want to make sure that we tell people how to contact you, because if you've heard something that you like and you can identify and you need some of this wellness coaching and health coaching, Elisa, tell us how they can contact you. You can go to my website at universalcoachingservices.com. I have a Facebook page, universalcoachingservices.com as well. And of course, you can contact me at 561-634-0463 or support, and you can email me at support@universalcoachingservices.com.
And you'll be able to talk to them either in person or over the phone. You can do coaching both ways.
I do work over the phone, Skype, in person, people's homes, my office, anything.
Wow, that's great. I love having you here today. Thank you for
so much.
Sharing, for doing all that. I want to remind everybody, don't forget, call Arden Courts on their toll-free number, 888-478-2410. Ask for your free 36-hour day book. And join us next week for another Caregiver Solutions info show. And don't forget, make sure in the meantime you give someone a hug, because they need it and so do you. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us for this week's Caregiver Solutions with Marcia Teele. Join us next week as Marcia, who has 15 years of Alzheimer's disease and dementia care experience, brings you more needed information to help with the care of your loved one. This show can be seen again on caregiversolutions.info, and questions can be left on the site, which may be used on the program to help others. See you next week for more Caregiver Solutions. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.